I want to welcome you to the interview today. I'm so very pleased to have with me Janice Alexander from the Georgia Department of Human Services. And I am really excited to get into this conversation today, Janice. And Janice is the outreach manager for DHS, and we're going to be calling it DHS instead of the entire name. So welcome, Janice. How are you today?
Good morning. I am wonderful, and thank you so much, Rita, for this opportunity to talk about the Georgia Department of Human Services with your audience.
Wonderful. And so we are based out of Georgia, obviously, but if individuals are watching from other states, is there a similar type agency that has the same functions that DHS does?
Absolutely, absolutely. They may have a different name, but all states have services for aging adults around child support services and family and children services. Sometimes they're under one umbrella, like we are in the state of Georgia, but in other states, they may stand alone. So yes, you should be able to find or access many of the services that we're going to be talking about in other states as well.
Okay, wonderful. So let's talk a little bit about Georgia DHS. What is the overall mission? I know that you all serve a tremendous amount of individuals and also serve vulnerable populations, but what's the overall mission of DHS?
Yeah, thank you for that, Rita. So, the Department of Human Services, we really deliver a wide range of services designed to promote self-sufficiency, safety, and well-being for all Georgians. That kind of is how we describe ourselves in our overview. So, our mission really is to strengthen Georgia by providing individuals and families access to services that promote this self-sufficiency, independence, as well as protecting Georgia's vulnerable children and adults. So, our agency's role is to help people on their path to self-sufficiency, independence, as well as protecting vulnerable children and adults.
And as I mentioned earlier, DHS is a large agency. So
Yes.
what are the major program divisions?
Yeah, we are a large agency. So under our umbrella for the state of Georgia, we have aging services, we have child support services, and we have family and children services. And these are where we really, these are where the core functions where we touch the lives of so many Georgians take place in these program service areas.
So approximately then, how many people does Georgia DHS serve in all of its programs?
So how about this? We serve more than 2 million Georgians. So
Wow.
to put that in context, we really touch the lives of like 1 in 5 Georgians in some way. So if you think about our state, the population, then 1 in 5 Georgians are coming in contact with us for one reason or another.
Okay, wow, that's tremendous because our population in Georgia hovers around 9 million, right?
Right,
And so
right.
2 million, that is tremendous. So
Yes,
let's dive deep into what those services look like now. And let's just
yes.
start with the division of aging services. Again, it will touch our family members, all of us at some point, possibly. So, what are some of the services or programs within the division of aging services?
So before I get into that, let me just give you a kind of a overview of what it is they do.
Okay.
So basically, they assist older adults and at-risk adults, people with disabilities, their families and caregivers. Sometimes we think about aging and we think about it's, our services are just for the person, but we also assist family members and caregivers to achieve safe, healthy, independent, and self-reliant lives. We work with partners around the state to keep older persons in their homes and communities for as long as they desire to stay there. If we think about it, all of us want to stay in our homes as long as we possibly can. And our services are designed to help them remain as independent as possible and avoiding any delays in any long-term admittance to any long-term care facilities. Again, we're responsible for safeguarding vulnerable adults from abuse, neglect, and exploitation. And so we're that office that does the investigations. If someone called in, if there was a person that they thought felt like, hey, this person is not safe or someone is abusing them. We see a lot of financial abuse, financial exploitation. We're that office that you call in and our staff will go out and do those investigations. Now, our investigations, though, are for adults that are living actually in the community. There's another state agency called the Department of Community Health that does the investigations that are in healthcare facilities. And I like to make that distinction. We're the ones that do the investigations for people who are pretty much in the homes. And then we also advocate for adults under guardianship. Sometimes the probate court determines that there's no one um, to advocate for anybody, and actually they become guardians of the state. So we have staff who's responsible for advocating for those folks that's considered to be under guardianship. We have an amazing Aging and Disability Resource Center. And it is with over 25,000 resources statewide. So no matter where you live in the state, and even for Rita, you mentioned earlier, there may be people tuning in from other states. If you live in another state and have a family member in Georgia, you can call this Aging and Disability Resource Center. They can connect you with the resources in that area. And the wonderful part about it is that basically you tell them what county the person is in. We're a huge state. We got 159 counties. So a service may be available in Fulton County that may not be available in Chatham County. So the wonderful part about our resource connection is that it will connect you with the resources in that area. And services such as home delivered meals, congregate meals, caregiver support, homemaker, respite transportation, all of these services are available, but these are pretty much provided statewide through our area agencies on aging. So I can't tell you, okay, go here and get this. Basically, people will need to connect with their local area agency on aging, and they are wonderful, wonderful in connecting them to the resources for that area. And is this a good time, Rita, where I can give that phone number for
Oh,
that Aging and
absolutely. Go
Disability?
ahead. And I will do that as well in the
Okay.
description. So feel free.
Okay, so our Aging and Disability Resource Connection, that phone number is 1-866-552-4464. Again, that number is 1-866-552-4464. And as with most systems now, it's going to start as an automated system, but you can get to an operator and get assistance. So we just encourage people to reach out to us. People sometimes say, well, how old do you have to be? Well, the age is different for different services. I always say call. Let us determine if we can or cannot assist you based on the age of the individual. But it's a tremendous, tremendous, wonderful statewide resource that we offer for Georgians.
Is there a cost for that, Janice, for that referral service?
So there's not a cost for the resource service, but some of the service that you connect with, after you talk to our counselors, there may be some fees associated with that. And that's why I say always call first, so that the counselors on that line, they're amazing. They will be able to talk you through kind of what the options are, options with fees may be associated, options without fees associated. So I would just encourage people, just call us if you have a question about a service that a person may need, and just need clarity on anything related to aging services. This is also the area that, every year, there's open enrollment, Medicare open enrollment. We see so many people that, kind of respond to ads from, and I'm just going to be candid, agents that are selling their products.
Yeah, we've all seen those. Yeah.
Yes, and we have wonderful counselors who will not try to sell you in a product, because we're servants of the state. So our function is to help you determine what your options are. Our staff will never tell you, you need to do this. Our staff will say, these are the options based on the information that's being shared. So I would just encourage people to reach out, anything related to aging services, caregiver services, all of that. And our staff and our counselors would be happy. Again, that number is 1-866-552-4464.
Now, is there an age that someone is considered a senior?
So as I was indicating, it depends
Mhm.
on what the service is.
Okay.
Some 60, some 65. There may be some 55. We have a senior employment program that's eligible for people 55 and older. There's some other services that you have to be 60, 62, 65. So my message to everyone is to call.
To call. Okay. All
Yes,
right.
yes, yes,
Wonderful.
yes,
Great, great, great. All right. So,
yes,
and you talked about how vulnerable our seniors are to exploitation, et cetera. I happen to see that you all are offering a workshop or webinar upcoming on banking and the
yes,
financial side, which I think is
yes.
wonderful. Yeah.
Yes, 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 yes. Well, listen, we do offer and we work with a lot of wonderful partners. And the nice thing about us at the state is that we realize we can't do this work by ourselves. So we depend on other nonprofits, we depend on the faith community, we depend on the corporate community to help us. So, yes, we're pretty excited. We have a safe banking seminar that's coming up. And I would just encourage people to go to the DHS website to find out a listing of all of our seminars. Not only that, we have a scam alert seminar coming up that we're actually co sponsoring with AARP, the Better Business Bureau of Georgia, because people are just being scammed. And I was surprised to hear about all of the COVID related scams that's going on. I'm saying, oh my God, this is bad enough as is. And to know that people are being scammed, related to COVID. So yeah, our efforts are all my role is the outreach manager. I want people to know how to access these services, how to find out about what our agency has to offer, and how not to be taken advantage of.
And those webinars are free,
Oh,
correct?
absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely,
Wonderful.
absolutely.
Wonderful.
Yeah, they're free, and we know a lot of people are probably getting a little zoomed out, so we try to
Yeah.
keep them under an hour and provide contact information so that if people have questions, they know how to follow up.
Okay. Such a valuable service protecting everyone against scams.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so we're going to switch gears a little bit. Anything else about aging services that we need to know?
Well, just two things real quick.
Okay, sure.
We just finished up a wonderful senior hunger summit. So
Hmm.
people just are not aware that there are a lot of seniors who go to bed hungry at night, who have to make a decision between whether or not they want to eat or take their medicine or pay a light bill. So we're real proud of Georgia because we're one of maybe the only or one of few states who have a major initiative around senior hunger. Just finished a senior hunger summit where we brought in professionals, caregivers, adults, everybody just talking about the issue in the state. And the area agency on aging, and at the end, I'll give all of our contact information. But if anybody's interested in joining us in this effort, we would love to have you. And then another big effort we have is dementia.
Mhm.
Everybody probably knows someone who's been touched by dementia. We offer monthly webinars to help people understand that dementia is not a normal part of aging, that you can live you can live a productive life, with dementia. We help people understand that um, with supports in place that you can live with dementia, and it's all about and how to communicate with people with dementia. One of the big things that I always emphasize when we're doing these sessions is that keep in mind that the person with dementia, you need to enter into their reality. They can't come to yours. If they could, they would. It's not a choice. And that, understand that dementia is just like a disease, like cancer and high blood pressure and any of that other kind of stuff. And we need to start looking at it like that, dealing with it like that, and then understanding that we can make some just small changes to support people. One of the workshops, and I probably am talking too much,
No,
Rita.
you're good. You're good. You're good. You're good. You know what? I'm learning so much, and you're doing a
Yes,
tremendous job in just letting us know of what's available. Because, as you said, all of us have aging parents or are aging, et cetera, and you all offer a tremendous amount of resources. So keep going.
yeah. Okay, so the last thing I'll say is I've been trained as a dementia champion. I'm excited about that. So that means I get to go around in my role as the outreach manager to talk about dementia as well as talking about overall DHS and all of our programs that we're talking about today. But the first presentation I did, I was so impacted because a young man who was in his, I think, 30s came to the workshop, And he was sharing with us that he had stopped going to see his mom because it was so painful for him to go see her, and she didn't know who he was. And after we talked about and helping him understand that this is a disease, she didn't raise her hand and say, "Hey, I want dementia. I don't want to know who you are." We helped put them to understand that it is a disease, and that even though she may not remember you, she'll always remember how you made her feel.
Hmm.
So continue to go see her, understand your feelings when you're going in, and to understand that, people don't volunteer to get dementia. She's not there because she wants to be there. And it really does mean a lot to her for you to go see her and for you to leave her with a good feeling. And yeah, so I get a lot of warm fuzzies. I really enjoy talking about it. Into helping people to understand it's a disease, it affects the brain, and it's more than just memory that it impacts. It affects your communication skills. But there are lots of resources, and our website, our DHS website, has wonderful information. And I'm always, I hope you can see my enthusiasm, I'm always
Yes.
anxious to talk about the department, because I'm a social worker at heart. And I just believe in anything, any kind of information that we can share with people to help them on this path of life. I'm willing to do that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So fantastic. A lot of tremendous services, worthwhile services, and you're getting the word out. So that's great. We're going to switch gears a little bit. So that's
Yes.
one vulnerable population, are folks
Yes.
that and you're serving that through aging services.
Yes.
What about other types of populations? For example, children. So DFACS falls under the umbrella of,
Yes.
yeah. So can you tell us a little bit about the Division of Family and Children Services?
Sure. Yeah. So basically, as I started out with our mission in terms of protecting vulnerable Georgians, and a part of that population, of course, includes children. We're the agency that's responsible for making sure that children are safe. So the Division of Family and Children Services investigates reports of child abuse. So when a person call in and say this child is being abused, at that point for us it's an allegation until we've
Okay.
had an opportunity to investigate it. So our staff will go out and do an investigation. And as I understand, some states, the state agency can actually bring people in care, but in the state of Georgia, before we can bring a child in care, we have to consult with the judge. So it has an
Okay.
extra layer of, hey, this is a child that needs to be brought in care. So once a child is brought into care, number one, we make it clear that we don't get any bonus points for bringing children in care. We know that children do better when they stay with their families, and the Division of Family and Children Services have all kinds of support services that if we ever have to bring a child in care, our goal is to try to reunification, bringing that child back home, getting that child back home. But there are times when we have to bring kids in foster care. As a result of that, we're responsible for finding foster homes. So I always say that if you have a love in your heart, an extra room in your home that you can bring a child in foster care, we could use extra foster homes across the state. We work diligently with parents, doing everything we can to reunite the children with their families. But there are some times when that doesn't happen. There are some times when parents give up parental rights, and children have to be moved from foster care, not back home, but to adoption.
Mhm.
And then we're responsible also for helping to find adoptive homes for those children. And then we provide all kinds of support services for families in needs. And you hear about the SNAP program. For years, it was referred to as food stamps. We're the ones who does the determination of eligibility for food stamps for Medicaid and temporary assistance for needy families. Um, our overall mission is around self-sufficiency and protecting vulnerable Georgians. And Family and Children Services is that office that is responsible for making sure that our children are not being abused, neglected, and exploited.
And there are thousands of foster families across the state of Georgia, as you said, that just love children and want to help. And so, um, kudos to any of foster families. They have to
Yes,
be watching as
yes,
well.
yes.
Okay, so that's DFACS, and
And we need more foster parents, Rita.
you do. Okay,
We desperately need more foster parents, and I will share this, and to allow it to tug on your heart. Unfortunately, there are times when we may have to bring a child in care, and we may have to place them outside of the county of their residence. Now that's pretty painful because number one, you're separating the child from their family, and number two, you're separating them from their community, like their schools, their churches, or whatever. If we do not have a placement, we have to place the children, in a safe place, and we have to do that. I know that some people say, "I'll be a foster parent. I'll be a foster parent." There is a process. We do have to ensure that we follow the process before. Placing a child with a family. So we do need foster parents. Thank you.
okay, okay. That's great
Yep.
to hear as well. All
Yep.
right, so that's DFACS. What
Uh-huh.
about other services that help children? For example, I know that child support services that's also under DHS, correct?
Yes, 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 yes. So, child support services, we're that agency that says that children should be taken care of by both parents. Whether or not the parents are together or not, we believe strongly that children should be taken care of by both parents. So, for the parent who's not in the household and they're not paying child support, then our mission is to, first of all, is to increase the reliability of support paid by parents when they live apart from their children. So, if parents are not together, that parent that's not living with that child, we believe they should share in the responsibility for caring for that child. So sometimes we may have to locate the parents. Sometimes we may have to establish paternity. We do establish and enforce fair child support orders. We want children to have health insurance payments, healthcare coverage, because children need coverage as well. And then we work with the those non-custodial parents to remove any barriers that they might have from paying child support. So why aren't you paying child support? Well, I'm not paying child support because I need a GED or I need some kind of skill. We have some amazing outreach programs that will help them increase their skill set, get a certification, get a GED. Many of these resources are free. So
Okay.
if a parent, a non-custodial parent, want some support, we encourage you to don't avoid us. That's the worst thing that you can do, because sometimes people get letters from us and they'll throw them away. That's not good. If you get a letter from us and it says, we need to see you, we encourage you to reach out to us because we're here to help. We are servants of the state. We do not want to do those very, let's see, some of those enforcement actions are not
Hmm.
pleasant.
Right.
And when I say that, I mean, we do not want to incarcerate people for not paying child support. And the sheriffs don't want us either, because there are people doing bad things, who are dangers that need that jail space. So basically, we want people to pay their child support. If you need services support, we do have a wonderful fatherhood program, and it's an employment based program. That's for those folks who say either I don't have a job or I'm not making enough money. And so that program focuses on providing services that help the non custodial parent who are unemployed or underemployed. That's when they're working, but they're only making minimum wage.
Right.
So we help them to find jobs paying above the minimum wage to make them more self sufficient so that they can be more self sufficient and take care of their children. That program offers GED classes, short term training, resume writing, job placement. Um, One of the things that we talk about a lot of is that if a person wanted to go to truck driving school, we can help them with that. So again, we encourage you to not to avoid us, but to contact us, because avoiding us, at some point, we've had people to say that, hey, I didn't know my driver's license had been suspended until I was stopped. Well,
Mm.
it's the responsibility of everyone to keep us keep provide us with good contact information. So it takes almost 6 months before we actually suspend somebody's license. We've made all kinds of efforts to contact people. People say, I didn't know. I'm saying, well, it's your responsibility to make sure you provide us with a good address. And, we've sent that information to you. And we have some wonderful resources so people can actually see what's going on with their case. The other good program that I wanted to just highlight is the Parental Accountability Court program. So we're really excited about that because that's a joint effort between our agency and Superior Court judges. So Superior Court judges have said, you know what, let's offer an alternative to people who would normally be put in jail for being a chronic non-payer of child support. So it's a wonderful program with oversight with the Superior Court judges to keep people out of jail, so that they can pay child support. So we have lots of resources, and I just encourage people to, reach out to us and let us be of service to you because your children need you. And that's what, I always say that, we don't get into, you know, um, anger issues between the parents. Our focus,
Mm-hmm.
our focus is on the children.
Right. Right.
Our
So again,
focus
this is
is on
all for the benefit of the children. So
other
again, bottom
children.
line, don't ignore the notices, and it's okay to say I need help.
It's
Right. It's okay.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely, because there's a tremendous amount of help available for you. And it's here. I said, well, they say that you can, lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. I mean, we can put all of this stuff out here for you. And we just encourage you to contact us so that we can assist you to assist your children who need you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So you talked a little bit earlier about benefits in administering the SNAP program and
Yes.
eligibility, et cetera.
Yes.
So as a part of that, there's something called the Georgia Gateway System. So
Yes.
what is that? And can you tell us a little bit about how that's helpful for
Sure.
families?
Okay. So Georgia Gateway, it's wonderful. So it's an integrated system of of let's see, where's I had a wonderful little note because it's an integrated system to provide eligibility for all of our services. So
Okay.
back in the day, you would have to apply for everything differently. And what that meant was if you applied for food stamps, that was one application. If you applied for Medicaid or health services or CAPS, child and parent services, all of those were completely different application processes. So Gateway, several agencies, state agencies came together and said, listen, a lot of them are the same people, who are providing
Okay.
for these services. So Gateway is an integrated eligibility system that determines eligibility for services for benefits offered by community health, and that would be around the medical services, early care and learning, that's after school services and DECAL, Department of Human Services, Public Health, and our, of course, Division of Family and Children Services. It is really wonderful, and it's almost like this really isn't rocket science. Why is it taking us so long to get here? But we're here, and it is a wonderful, tremendous resource.
And so in a way, it's a one-stop for
It's a
these.
one-stop
It
shop.
is a
Yes,
one-stop. Okay.
yes,
Okay. And
yes,
of
yes.
course, there's eligibility involved in terms of income, et cetera.
Yes, yes,
Right?
yes, yes,
Okay.
yes. So it is. You said that perfectly, Rita, and thank you for that. It's one stop eligibility determination for state services. And these include medical systems, as I said, Medicaid is the one we hear most about, Peach Care for Kids, Planning for Healthy Babies, Aging, Blind, and Disabled Medicaid. Okay, eligibility for SNAP, the Supplementary Nutrition Assistance Program, food stamps, temporary assistance for needy families, special supplemental nutrition program for women, infants, and children, and child care and parent services. The great thing about it is that in the past, as you applied for those programs individually, your renewals came up at all different times. So you were providing a renewal for, I'm just using this as an example, Medicaid at 1 month, your SNAP at another month, your WIC at another month, and you were having to submit in your same verifications over and over and over again. So this service might lapse because you thought you recertified, which you did, but it was for one program. Well, on the gateway, when you recertify and you submit that information, it's in the system. So you're not having to do that. Like you said, Rita, one stop shop. Yep,
And you're not
it's
having to
wonderful.
go in person, right? You're not having to
Correct,
go in person, and
correct.
because back in the day you would have to go in person, right, to the
A-
offices and apply.
So a lot of even before the pandemic, we really had started moving a lot to self-service options. And Gateway is an online system where you can upload documents, find out what's going on with your case. So yeah, you're right. It's a wonderful, wonderful resource.
Okay. All right. So that you just brought up the pandemic. So I have to ask about the
Yes,
pandemic.
yes,
So
yes, yes, yes.
how has the COVID-19 pandemic affected the services or the delivery of services that we've talked about today, which we've talked about a lot of services, but has COVID, the pandemic affected? I'm sure. So how has it?
So, we're the Department of Human Services. So we recognize that when things like the COVID happens, people don't just stop needing services. You know, so our services have continued throughout the pandemic. And actually, we've been able to help more people during this time of uncertainty. So, back in March of 2020, customers were encouraged to use our self service options. So, we continued to serve people, but it looked different. They were
Okay.
not able to come into the office, but for people who needed to get into the office, appointments were made available for them. So we've just encouraged people to use all of our self-service options. We have self-service for, as you mentioned, and we were talking about Gateway,
Mhm.
applying for all of that. The services for child support services. They have some phenomenal mobile app. I think they may have been one of the first states, or maybe the only state that have a mobile app for the customers, where you can pretty much do everything in the palm of your hand. We call it
Hmm.
child support on the go. So yes, individuals requiring in-person consultation have been seen by appointments when that's necessary. And the nice part about all of this is that we're realizing that maybe there were times when people really didn't need to come into the office. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? That you really could accomplish some things, and we've managed to move our work forward without. Without much of a disruption, and the only disruption being that the offices, the physical location may have been closed, but we have always been available to our customers throughout this pandemic.
And I have to agree, Janice, the pandemic is a very negative experience for all of us, but there's some learning and insights that have come out of it for sure.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes,
yeah.
yes. None of us had any idea back in March last year when this started that we would be out. And our commissioner talks all the time how our agency staff have just pivoted. Because most of us, I'd say the majority of us who work for the department, we're committed to this work. And as a result of that commitment, then we have a lot of passion for the customers that we serve, and we'll do whatever we need to do to kind of make sure that we're able to deliver those services. So our commissioner now, Gerald B. Hines, have said the staff has been amazing. Our deputy commissioners. Demetrius Taylor and Tangela Gray, they all talk about kind of the amazing work that our staff across the agency is doing. And, as we talked about the divisions, let me also acknowledge and recognize the directors for those divisions. And for child support, it is the Assistant Deputy Commissioner, John Hurst. For Aging Services, it's the Assistant Deputy Commissioner, Abby Cox. And then we have an interim director now for Family and Children Services, and that's Candice Brose. So we feel that our agency is led by some outstanding leaders, and our commitment is to the citizens and of the state of Georgia to ensure that our support goes to their safety and well-being and self-sufficiency.
Well, this has been a tremendous amount of information and learning. So thank you so much, Janice. If individuals want to find out even more, whether it be aging services, child support services, et cetera, how can they find out more about the services that DHS has to offer?
So, and thank you, Rita, for asking that, because I hope that I'm saying enough to have people to want to ask more questions, to want to say, hey, let me see how much of this information I can take advantage of, because I maintain that we have some services and resources for everyone. So many of our services, information is not based on income. Some of our services are based on income, but a lot of our resources and information is not. So I would just encourage people to, number one, go to our website. And that website is DHS.Georgia, and it's spelled out GEORGIA.gov. Again, the DHS website is DHS.Georgia, and it's spelled out GEORGIA.gov. And when you go to the website, you'll see our three divisions, which is Aging Services, Child Support Services, and Family and Children Services. And you can go to any of those areas and get information. But in addition to that, we have some toll-free numbers to call. So for agent services, I mentioned earlier, that number is 1-866-552-4464. And to go directly to their agent's site, to go directly to their site, and if you don't go through the DHS main site, their site address is aging.ga.gov. For child support, their number is 1-844-694-2347. And their site is childsupport.ga.gov. And with child support, it's important to know that they have an online portal. You can chat online, or you can use the mobile app on the go. And then finally, for DFCS, their number is 877-423-4746, and their website is dfcs.ga.gov. So if you remember that ga.gov and just put in front of it whether it's Asian, child support, or DFCS, it will get you to the right place. And then for DFCS also, if you want to report child abuse or neglect, you can call our Child Protective Services number, and that's a 24-hour day, 7-day-a-week number, and that is 1-855-422-4453. And then to report elder abuse, you would use the agent services number that I mentioned earlier in the discussion, as well as a moment ago, and that is 1-866-552-4464.
Well, Janice, thank you so very much. Thank you to you and the good work that you're doing and the good work that everyone at Georgia DHS is doing. What I will try to do is capture those phone numbers and put them in the description as well.
Yes.
And again, thank you so much for your time today. And thank you for explaining all the services so thoroughly. And all the very best to you.
Thank you, Rita, for having me. And to the audience, thank you for listening, as well as to the audience. We are available for presentations. We're still pretty much virtual now. Before the pandemic, it just gave me a pleasure to travel around the state giving these presentations. So again, we pivoted. We're Zooming and presenting information, and looking forward to the time, though, when we can get back out across the state. So anything that I've talked about, if anybody has any information, you can just let Rita know, and she can connect with me. And Rita, I just can't thank you enough for allowing your platform to be used to share this information about the Georgia Department of Human Services and the lives that we touch across the state. So thank you.
Well, it was my pleasure. And you take good care, Janice.
Okay, thank you.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye now.